Hello, my name is Pedro. I'm going to present OpenStreetMap in training local actors, a project aimed at communities-based interventions in favelas. It's a systematic review that is going to my thesis and master's degree. So the authors are me, teacher Patricia, and Vivian from University 2. And yes, let's go. Let's start into this. Okay, I just get like a step by step, but where we are and why am I doing this. And okay, let's start. There's 3 steps that I'm doing, like I started this year, from bibliographical review, from like a systematic way to search for projects, the humanitarian projects, to, systematical problems, to search for projects that work with favelas, interventions, all of that. And I'm trying to find, and then this is the main point of the presentation, and summary all this information into one table so we can have these projects and we can answer these questions, like how are these projects using OpenStreetMap and impacting communities, and what needs to be improved in the platform like OpenStreetMap so to better attend the communities on their demands. And while I answer that, I'm trying to look for the projects that seek to promote community-based interventions in the favelas that I'm working with. The second step is to develop a training proposal using OpenStreetMap to, test in the community to see if the training works, if I need to change something, to evaluate the training, and all of that to see if we're using OpenStreetMap, if we're teaching OpenStreetMap right to the communities, and a methodological proposal using OpenStreetMap and community, trying to see what's the intermediation between community and public authority. The third step is to evaluate and propose adaptation to the materials for Data for Human Rights project from Idea Maps. That's a project that develops training materials to communities. So after that, we're going to build a platform, trying to build a platform. You're building this while I'm talking. Build a platform that support community training. So that's the aim of this. Okay. Just so to see how my ideas connect with each other, where we are and all of that. The main thing is training and how we can get vulnerable communities, favelas, informal settlements, and how we're working on that with the communities. And the relation interaction, how can I say this? The vulnerable communities and the government. How is this relationship, how this works, and how can government responsible for urban infrastructure can attend the necessities of the community by the participation of them? Like, how can they talk together? How can we, see this working together? The other part that's not need to the government specifically, it's the independency of autonomy of the community to create data information of their space, their area, and what tools are we using for this? Like, what tool supports the community, and how are the communities mapping what they use for? The mapping process, so by collaborative map or participatory mapping, and using mainly OpenStreetMap and tools that have OpenStreetMap or a base map, and building geographical information, volunteer information, sorry. Okay. The objectives of my research are present the systematic characteristics of the projects that aim at community-based information using OpenStreetMap, identify projects with vulnerable communities, everything that I talked before, identify methods to use for appropriation, cartography appropriation of the tools in vulnerable communities. That's the point. So the step for the review, it's what we're presenting here, is I have doing by steps by the tools that I use for the first search of my the steps. No? The search I using OpenStreetMap and some keywords to identify articles that have OpenStreetMap and training in favelas. I started using Scopus and Web of Science. in the first search. In the second search, I expanded to Google Scholar and try using keywords generated by population intervention comparison outcomes. These were like what I was trying, the keywords. Using Web of Science mixed to Google Scholar and Scopus. And then the third search, I used Elicited and Semantic Scholar to find more articles about that. And the final analysis results in the summary table that has the articles led to the summary table. Here we have the funnel where you have the numbers of the articles and how much we're going to explore today. We start to the first search collection list with Web of Science and Scopus database. They'll have 43 articles. We adjust the keywords for when we're going down to see like if one word is not, if they are now using slums, we're using favelas. If not using favelas, we're using formal settlements. What are we using to see where the articles like to adjust? In the next one, using other tools with artificial intelligence, we find 13 articles after, again, a keyword readjustment, and searching using only AI like Elicit and Semantic Scholar, I found 7 articles. After reading all of them, I end up like taking out 30 of my articles, and the summary table now has 27 articles that not specifically work with favelas. The 27 articles work with OpenStreetMap, training, all of this like world, but not specifically in favelas. We're talking about that a little later. The investigation I carried out in the articles is based on these questions, like if you work with favelas, what's the nature of the intervention? If the favela residents operate OpenStreetMap, where's the favela? If the favela, what's the features mapped in the favelas? And all the questions, yes, I'll go down one by one because it's important. I would like exemplify more later. If use digital cartography technologies, what methods are used for appropriation cartography? If you provide teaching materials, if you're using analog or digital methods, if the project or the community is using impact indicators, just to see how are they measure the impact of the project when it ended. I maybe have like jumped some questions, but we are going to talk later. So the last 3 ones is, does it report impacts felt by the community or individuals participating on the project, and the challenge and problem just identified. So these are going to be the questions that we're going to go today. So the results and discussion, I have like the summary table is in this link if you want to like check it out. It's in Portuguese, I'm sorry, but you can translate if you want. Is the overview of the study, the mapping tools used, the community intervention projects that I identified, and the gaps identified in studies. This is the screenshot of the summary table, and they have all the information from each question. The studies overview. From the 27 articles that I get, 19 of them, that are not specifically with favelas, have this distribution. Like you can see that you have some Europe, like Africa, South America. I have like a lot of evidences, like a lot of projects around the world, but this changes a lot when it comes to like the 10 articles that are in favelas. And you can only see like Asia, maybe Africa, and a lot Africa and South America. The Europe projects are gone; they're not there. So just to see where are we working and where are the favelas that we are talking about. Where's the training? Who are the people that are working and training? Yes. The topics covered in the studies in the favelas, we have like perceived risk for disaster management, improving living conditions, in community training mapping. These 10 articles have been like these topics mainly. We have like other studies like for Europe and stuff. We have protection of the forest areas and focus on SDGs mainly. So we're not focusing exactly on the like other stuff. And I don't know if you guys like take this note, but if you plus the numbers, it did not get to 27. because I have like in the articles, none of them, like some of them doesn't have a study area. They are like importing data and putting into OpenStreetMap, but it's not like a specific area. So if the favela residents operate the OpenStreetMap, I just put some photos that the training that we have with the woman in Occupation My City last week. I think it's good to represent that. And 30% did not operate from the 10 articles, 30% did not operate, 70% operate OpenStreetMap, and that makes a lot of change when we're seeing like what's the data is representing, like what you can see in the community and what is mapped from the community is important for them. Like you're not mapping like things that are not important for the community in this 70%. Like we have to know after that what's mapped, the features that are mapped. And the mapping tools that are mainly used, we have like, here we have, I'm not good at math, so you're gonna help me out, 20 articles, 6 articles only using OpenStreetMap, 8 using other tools and OpenStreetMap combined together, and 6 only using other tools like QGIS, Mapillary, ODK, TeachOSM, other stuff like not linked strictly to OSM. Like this side is hot task manager too. It's not directly OpenStreetMap, you have to task manager intermediate that. The open geospatial tools is QGIS, OSM Tracker, Open Data Kit, Open Map Kit, Mapillary, TeachOSM, and the combined use of these two is mainly for, you have to map in favelas. The base map, we doesn't have the base map always, like it's really hard to have to generate the base of the map of the community, and we have to map other things that cannot be mapped on OpenStreetMap. There are like flood points, you need to like, other things that community needs to map that cannot be added on OpenStreetMap. That's why in some projects they use like other tools too. 7 of them did not use because it was like review articles and articles about data import. This is some words that they used, and when they mapped favelas, what features are they mapped? I will just translate some of them, like education, point, POEs, point of interest, health, services, difficulties, stories. Yes, a lot of the things that are not mapped on OpenStreetMap can be mapped too, and a lot of the articles takes points of interest that are more than like just a theme thing. I don't know if I get clear, but we can get into that after. So if you use digital cartographic technologies and if you use analog tools. The digital ones is this one. I try to get more of them in this slide. So QGIS, Mapillary, JAWS, Open Data Kit, TeachOSM, Osman, I don't remember this one now, but Map Compare. And the physical, they use like paper maps or murals. I don't know, okay, a wall full of maps, just to everyone in the community know what's done and what's been done and what they have mapped, and it's how they use it in physical maps. And what methods are used to appropriation of the cartography tools by the data by the community? The validation of the community, what they are like trying to know, what the community get from the training. It's like the validation for the community itself for the map produced and map taken for the public authority through the discussion, feedback from participants. Mainly the projects do like this way. They ask the residents about what they get and what they have done and what they are trying to get, like how the community appropriate the data, the tools, and it's mainly by validation, by like people talking. That's not like a specific way to try to register that. Workshops, assessment with feedback from the community, that's what we're talking at this point. And mapathons are used to do the mapping. That's how people used to do in the community, try to train people there. If the article provided any teaching materials, from the articles that I get, Only 2 projects have really like given me a URL or a link or a website or something to really teach the people from the community. 2 of them, one of them is the one that I use in my review and my research. The other one is from a group in São Paulo, the maps Favelas, the Quebrada maps. This one, they give like a guide to how to do the mapping communities, how do you approach them, how to talk to them, and like a really detailed review and guide. Going ahead, do you use the community impact indicator? Does it report actual impacts felt by the community or individuals participating in the project? And mostly the end of the articles is like have some phrases from people in the community, like how it's done in the qualitative assessment through reports and feedback from the participants, mostly by phrases, by something they ask, by like something like that. Increased visibility in the community, engagement with residents, and that's how some articles do too. Like they have some at the end, like photos, like talks, like a lot of things that try to visibility the community, but not exactly a quantitative way to measure how do you impact the community, how many persons were impacted to that training or that process or the project. So that's the thing that I felt it was one of the things missing in these articles, but in my articles too sometimes. Challenges and problems identified. Challenges is lack of specific training on the tools, limitations due to the use of low digital literacy, impacts on the difficulty of achieving sustainable development goals, and identify problem, lack of discussion and continuity to sustainability or intervention, lack of longitudinal studies, blah, blah, blah. Yes, what I'm trying to tell you here, it's like we have a lot of difficulties. I tell we, because we do a lot of training communities where I'm from. So we have a lot of difficulties getting like laptops, simple stuff to the community, like laptops, getting to them to like map with smartphone. For us here in FOSS4G, it's like, okay, we can do it. But if you're on another side, it's not that easy. Like sometimes I have to bring people to the university. Okay, it's good. But why we don't do the opposite? Like we bring laptops to the community. We are trying to do that in some projects, but the main thing is like sometimes we get the laptops there, but people never see a laptop before. Like they never used a laptop. So that's the challenges that we have it. And one of the problems right there, that's lack of discussion or the continuity of the project is like all the projects has the beginning and the end. Like it starts now, ends in January. All the projects have an end. How we continue the projects in the community? How can we keep the projects alive? How can people from the community keep getting results from what we done and what they done? So that's a lot of things that we have faced as problems. And the main projects that I get from this process, a long process, was here's a lot of them, maybe you know, maybe other know. I'm not talking like specific to each other, but okay, youth mappers, I think you guys may know. HOT, Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, Quebrada maps that I have talked before, and some ended projects like Growing Up Cities from UNESCO, Idea Maps that has a lot of progress going on, and from Data for Human Rights is one of the projects, and a lot of them. We can talk like specific for each one for like 30 minutes. I'm not getting specific into each one. Like, it's not favoritism. And thanks, that will be it. Here's my contact number and email and everything. No number, email from the people, just thank you.